Thank you for joining my channel, StellaRoseAllDay. Keep it PG-13 because YouTube is monitoring my channel for cuss words. So we got to be careful when we're saying what we're talking about, because sometimes we talk about sensitive topics like sexual assault, and so we want to be careful because people who have been traumatized by sexual assaults and sexual assault victims and also trauma victims, we have to be careful because some words can be triggering to the people who are victims. So we want to be kind. I know people want to be able to express how they feel in the chat, and that's a wonderful thing. But we also have to remember that we're not here alone and that other people watch these videos. And so we want to be careful about the words that we're using in the chat because we don't want to trigger somebody who's got some trauma from incidences that happened in their past. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about corruption and my story. So I couldn't have told Aaron's story without having my story have come first, okay? That's why I feel like it was divine intervention that I was the one that told Aaron's story. And the problem with corruption is that there's more of it. That's why I don't advise anybody to go directly to the FBI, because that's what I did and that's how I ended up with my disability. So for people who haven't been able to purchase my memoir, Shattered Windows, or the sequel, Hush Money, I'll talk a little bit about what happened. So what happened is there was a lawyer by the name of Quinn Frazier, who's a partner in an international law firm. And at the time, the name of the law firm was called Drinker, Biddle, and Reef. It's since merged into Fagre Drinker, okay? And their billable hours are $1 billion a year, and they only cater to the top 100 on the Forbes richest list, okay? They only deal with you if your family has a net worth to be on the top 100 Forbes richest families. That's it. It's the only way you're going to get a lawyer from there to work with you on an estate plan. This lawyer came in to my family's business and took over, okay? And he came up with fraudulent paperwork and remade stock certificates in his office, okay? And he cut me and my little sister out of our $125 million share of stock certificates out of the company and personal assets, okay? So a company that I was born in a factory in 1973, okay? I was born into a family business. I worked in the family business my whole life. So did my little sister. My little sister went on to have 2 children that were both special needs and declared disabled. My dad set up trust accounts for them. And this lawyer came in and fraudulently redid the entire estate plan without any consent from my dad, who was suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia. And when I went and sued the lawyer, my sister and I, to get our inheritance back, because if you were robbed of $125 million, you wouldn't take it laying down either, okay? And then they turned around and sued me 17 times in 8 years. So I don't care who you are, you're not going to be able to survive the turmoil that comes from all the litigation that they just buried me in and accused me of doing things that they could never prove that I did, like trademark infringement and all this other stuff. So at the same time, I was working with people who were helping me with my case, and I worked with a court certified document examiner who was also a handwriting expert, and there was only 2 of them in the state. One worked for the FBI, the other one you could hire. So the second one I hired, my sister and I, we hired him, and he examined the documents and he came up with a report, and it stated that, you know, the paperwork that was submitted into the court was fraudulent, okay? And so that's fraud on the court. So when you bring fraud onto the court, like Detective Homicide Ray Lugo did in Aaron's case by falsifying autopsy reports and submitting them into the public records, that's called fraud on the court, which means everything is fraudulent from that moment on. So from the minute that he submitted those fraudulent documents into court, into the estate after my dad passed away, everything after that is fraudulent. And so I went to the FBI, I got an appointment with the FBI, and I went there with my paperwork to show them what happened, and I had a witness with me, and it wasn't even a month later that they trapped me inside of the home that my father left me, okay? And they tried to kidnap me, and it became a hostage situation, and I got away. So what happened is when I pulled up to, this lawyer made an appointment for me to be able to see my dad with my little sister. My little sister was running late that day. And so when I pulled up to my dad's house, because he was still alive at this point, it was just days before his 90th birthday, the gate was open, the fence was open, and the front door was open. So I ran into the house to see my dad, and that's how they trapped me in there. And so when I walked in and they grabbed me and I started fighting, there were 5 guys. They caught me in between a door jamb and a metal door, and they beat me all the way down my whole left side. That's why my left side is all messed up, and that's what gave me my spinal cord injury. So that's why when I'm talking about corruption, the reason why it's going to be hard for the FBI to work with corruption that's reported is because there's more of it. There's more of it. Do you think that Aaron's case was the only case where a singer from Sony was murdered? Or do you think Aaliyah might have been murdered too? What about Whitney Houston? What about her daughter? I mean, the reason why they don't want to expose the corruption anymore in the media is because there's more of it. That's why TMZ keeps putting sick Carter on there, acting like he's some great person, because I guarantee you there's more women that accused him of sexual assault than is suing him. I know that for a fact. There's more than just the 3 Shay's lawsuit. There's other women in that lawsuit. So it's 3 lawsuits. It's not just 3 women. There's more than just that, okay? And so the good news is that, like, I'll finally be able to start working on the physical disabilities that I have through the rehab program that I'm in now, but I don't think it's a good idea for people to put themselves in the line of fire for Aaron Carter. It's just not smart. Not if you value your life. It's just not smart. It's not going to go anywhere. They know what happened. Like, I got an article emailed to me yesterday, and it was from Germany, and it was a picture of Aaron's twin, Angel, with Melanie and Franz in front of Aaron's grave site. Okay? And it's like humiliating to Aaron, okay, in my opinion. Here you have this kid who was 6 years old that they threw out on a stage and made him perform, okay, as a tiny child, okay, and they just threw him out there and threw him out there and threw him out there. And then his manager, Lori Knight, okay, and this is Aaron's words, who is Nick Carter's manager because she wants to be known as Nick Carter's manager, okay? molested him on the set of the Jay Leno show, okay? And then Aaron fired her after that. And then after that, because he rejected her, okay, she just had a vendetta against him ever since, okay? And she works for Sony. She works with Sony. She works in the music industry. But it's a house of cards. If one falls, they all fall. You know what I'm saying? Disney and Sony can separate their relationship from Nick Carter and from Lori Knight, but they're still holding on that they can just fool people that Nick Carter is some great person and that he's not a serial rapist. And it's like, but the people know the truth. You could look at him and see that he's creepy. But I mean, I think there's value into telling my story and to telling Aaron's story because there's more out there. It was just pathetic that like I'm reading this article about Aaron's gravesite, and here you have the people that put him in that little box down at the ground level. Okay, it's humiliating and embarrassing to Aaron. Oh, it's Prance's father. That's Louis's child, okay? That kid does not belong biologically to Aaron Carter. I've seen the DNA proof. I've submitted it to the feds. That child is Taylor Helgeson and Melanie's kid, okay? Prance, that's their kid. And the sister's there with Melanie and Prance, and it's like, what a bunch of fake people. What a bunch of phonies, okay? They could never prove that that was Aaron's kid because it's not. So they're sitting there looking at Aaron in a box. Like, look, we finally got him trapped. We got him in that little box, and we just slapped a label on there that it's Prance is his kid. And it's like, you know what I hope for you? I hope that karma just never stops knocking on your door for what you did to that kid. I know that it didn't stop when when my story was being told, okay? Sheila Finnegan, magistrate judge, okay? Didn't they come to you because they need you to step down now? They need you to get off your throne, judge, because you were the one that redacted the paperwork, okay? You were the one that redacted the paperwork, okay, and said, well, we'll just erase the part where Quinn Frazier ordered this assassination on you. We'll just erase that from the court records, okay? But now, years later, because I was smart enough to publish the facts and to publish the book, and there's been legal teams looking at this and other people in the feds looking at this, like, what happened to this girl? Why did she end up homeless? Why is her neck all mangled like that? Yeah, that's why my neck is like this. And I'm in constant pain every day, all day. Every day, all day. But the only way to get through the trauma is to talk about it. And so that's why I don't have a problem talking about Aaron's death, because I know that the Carters are a bunch of liars and they're a bunch of frauds, okay? That's why they don't sue me, because I could compel them to DNA testing, independent DNA testing, okay? And I have the proof that I worked with federal informants into the FBI that there's more women that Sick Carter assaulted. There's more than just the ones that are suing them. And it took 20 years for those girls to finally be able to get a lawyer who was strong enough to be able to sue them, because their grandfather is former President Jimmy Carter, who's a fraud himself, okay? He's been dying on hospice since February so he can scam Medicare. It runs in the family. They kill off the artists. Now, are they killing off the actors now too? Did Matthew Perry really drown in the hot tub, or are they just cherry picking the ones that have addiction issues because he was making $20 million a year in revenue? I mean, they're trying to balance out their balance sheet. But the reason why you're going to have a hard time with the feds coming out and admitting corruption is because there's just more of it. I know for sure that I wasn't the only victim of a high net worth Ponzi scheme with Drinker, Biddle, and Reith, because the court certified witness that I had also worked with somebody else who had that same issue with the same law firm. Okay, that's why Aaron Carter's case with him overdosing, being forced to take the fentanyl, okay, pills, so they would kill him. He was just one of the artists, okay, that this is how they handle their family business. It was just, in my opinion, it came from, like, I think they got the idea from probably Sony, and who's owned by Disney, but I think it was Aaron's murder was Lori Knight's version of a hired hitman or whatever, okay? Because she was trying to save her only client, Nick Carter, from being able to go out and perform and possibly, sexually assault more 15-year-olds, because that's what he liked. He liked the virgins. And then after he was done raping the virgin, he didn't want that one anymore. That's why if you read the story that Molly Golightly wrote to the National Enquirer, on the second night that she hooked up with Nick Carter, and that was the one where AJ was the witness allegedly to raping the minor, that she brought that girl back, and he didn't want her because he already had her. And so Molly Golightly allegedly raped her, okay? So the thing is I go out and talk about my story because the one thing I have is hope. There was a reason why I survived that day and I didn't die in that house, okay? I escaped many times death. They also cut my brake lines on my car, okay, twice, okay, and that's in the sequel, Hush Money. They got rid of my lawyers who were suing this law firm to get me my inheritance back. But I mean, the thing is the feds and even the police, they don't want to admit to corruption, okay? And so, I mean, I guess if you want to believe their BS story, you can. I'm not here to convince everybody that here's what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just exposing the truth so you have another way to think about things. Like, I don't think it's a good idea for you to try to go to Hollywood and try to make a star out of yourself, because then you become a target, because they're going to want that money back, okay? Because they never gave Aaron the money that he earned, and anytime he tried to go after it and get it, all they did was try to set him up where they were going to kill him. Remember when they put the rope in the garage and said that he was going to hang himself? Then they tried to get him on a 5150. I mean, if Aaron was going to stay alive, he would have just lived a disabled life like I do. Like, I can still function, but I'm functioning with a high amount of pain, and it's going to take years for me to even get remotely close to partially what a normal existence would be, okay? But I'm doing it, and so along the way, I'm telling Aaron's story too, but Aaron was gang stalked, okay? And who killed him was his former managers, okay? Did the money come from Lori Knight? Allegedly it did. The drugs came from Louis. I mean, that's evidence. His prescription bottle was at the scene, okay? Melanie is just a fraud, and if you're a fraud, you're a liar, okay? Collecting Social Security? Come on, Melanie. You're such a scumbag. I swear, you are such a scum. You are the lowest form of lowest vibration that exists, okay? Like, I can't think of anything besides ATM Richie is disgustingly scummy like you. Like, you're just pathetic. Like, you should, like, not be in this country. You should take your illegitimate kid and go back to Bologna where you belong. You should hurry up and leave before you start having to paying back Social Security, okay, for being a fraud, okay? So, I mean, yeah, there's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth, right? So for you that want to go ahead and be a whistleblower, this, that, and everything, and you're telling the police know. The police know. They don't want more light shed on it because there's more. You think that Aaron's the only dead body that they're trying to cover up? You think that's the only murder for hire in Hollywood that happened? Oh my God, no. There's tons more. Tons more. I mean, doesn't Forest Lawn have like 4 or 5 campuses where they bury the celebrities? It's all about protecting that sick Carter, okay? The sick, demented one, the dented cans. But if you want to go ahead and expose your 15-year-old at a meet and greet, I don't advise it, but if that's what you want to do and put a generational curse, go right ahead. But I'm just saying, like, of course they know, okay? They know that Aaron was murdered. I gave you the proof that the FBI even documented that they know that Aaron Carter was murdered, okay? And I put it in his documentary, War of Angels, A Death of Aaron Carter. Now, I have agreed to write his second documentary and also my third book that I'm doing, but I'm doing my physical therapy first. So I'm doing the lives, but I will do his second part and my third book as I get going through my physical therapy and my surgeries and stuff. I need to have 2 surgeries as I can in between all of that. But like right now, I can't even type, okay? Can't type, can't use the computer. Right now, what I have is this, and this is enough, okay? So, did I miss any questions in the chat? So that's basically what's going on. I think I got everything right. Let's see. Yeah. Thank you for being supportive of me. I know Aaron relied on his fans for support, and you know, it's just me. I'm all by myself with just me and my dog, and that's it. Okay, I rely on YouTube. I don't have an income or anything like that. So I appreciate the donations. I appreciate the fan mail. I'm in a lot of pain right now, so I gotta get off of here. But thank you, everybody who sends support, and I gotta go. Love you guys and ladies, girls and gals, everybody, I gotta go.